Out of college.
Out of college.
Yeah, so when I got out of college, I went and got my Series 7 and my 66. I became a financial advisor.
Okay.
I worked for Edward Jones Investments. I got picked up by Merrill Lynch. I was at Merrill, and then my buddy was down here killing it in mortgages, and that's how I got in the game.
So were you associated with a mortgage company, or were you like brokering, like insurance?
No, we were a broker. We were a broker.
So you can just select your own carriers?
Yeah, I mean, we still were under a certain umbrella. So when I first...
Are you still with that umbrella?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so... Yeah, honestly, I think the mortgage company really suffered when I opened the studio, dude.
Yeah.
Because I was pumping volume for these guys.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
And we're live. Another Adversity Kings episode.
Yes,
we got
sir.
the OG on,
Let's
man.
go, baby.
The founder. Let's
Yes,
go. How you doing today?
I'm
Andrew,
good, bro.
Loranger?
That's fine. Loranger.
Loranger. Okay,
If you want to get real proper, it's Loranger in French.
You're French, bro.
Yeah.
Do you speak French?
I don't.
Okay. You did with the last name, a little bit of the enunciation.
Yeah,
That
man.
sounded French. Okay, so Andrew Loranger, give us your story, bro. Where were you born and raised?
I was born in Buffalo, New York,
Okay, New Yorker.
but I grew up in Virginia, like in the sticks, in
Okay.
the countryside.
Yeah.
Yeah, my first job was baling hay and alfalfa and
Wow.
orchard grass on a farm.
There's relatability there too. I
Yeah.
grew up in Arkansas. You've heard my story a
Yeah.
few times. But dude, cleaning out horse stalls. You know what I mean? Yeah, cleaning out horse stalls.
Dude,
on
it's an unforgiving
farms.
job.
Unforgiving, but
Yeah.
also like character building,
100%.
appreciation. The mental sweat, I'll take any day over that physical sweat. You know what
Absolutely.
I mean? It's definitely,
100%.
it brings some like euphoric clarity and some excitement of like going back. But like to work day in and day out and be like a farmhand, not for me, not for you, dog.
No, not at all.
Who were you closest to growing up?
My mom, for sure. Yeah.
What parents
100%.
do? What they do?
So my mom was a director of public relations and marketing for the university that I attended. She
Okay.
worked at the university in my hometown for 30 plus years. And so, yeah, growing up, she was a collegiate. She's a PhD. She's got her doctoral and all these things. She was big on education. And my dad was a professor.
Wow.
So my dad was teaching blueprint reading, electrical engineering, robotics engineering. My dad was like a brainiac mathematician.
That makes a lot of sense in regard to like you've always sounded super intelligent, you know what I mean? So like but like now it makes a lot of sense because I bet the number one priority in the household was grades.
Yeah.
Was education.
Yeah, but it's ironic because I always had the worst grades growing up.
Yeah.
I was like I think I was like the black sheep for most of my life.
Yeah.
Because I went completely against the system. Like I was the worst in school. I failed almost every class. I
weren't
was the
passionate
class
about it.
clown. I hated it.
Yeah, you weren't bad. You know, I tell my guys, I always tell them, listen, you don't have ADHD because you were probably labeled as ADHD.
Yeah.
I was labeled as ADHD, and I was like, it wasn't that I lacked passion or attention because it's attention deficit disorder.
Yeah.
And I told them, and people make fun of it, it's VDHD. You had a vision deficit. You didn't see a vision.
That's huge.
On where geometry and geography and biology and English and all these different like individual classes was going to lead you. You don't want to be a professor. You don't want to be a doctor. You wanted to get money. And you didn't look at these professors, or maybe I shouldn't say professors. You don't look at these high school teachers, middle school teachers, and look at them and think, that looks like the life I want to live.
Wow.
So the disconnect isn't the class. It isn't the material. The disconnect is actually the vision.
Yeah.
Because if a kid saw every teacher driving a Lambo with a six-pack, the sexy wife, the sexy life.
Oh my God,
Or maybe
yeah.
the vision of like studying grammar and the Pythagorean theorem would be a lot more exciting.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, and you know, the funny thing is that you mentioned vision because it goes deeply beyond just the vision for getting Lambo and getting money.
Yeah.
You know, when I was a kid, even on the farm, I was the worst performer in every job I ever had. I was the worst performer in school. I was the worst performer at work.
Yeah.
I mean, even until probably 7 years ago when I had a massive business loss, I was the worst performer. I was on the lowest totem. You know when you stack your sales guys?
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, Bobby's fucking up. He's on the bottom of the totem pole. Like,
Yeah.
step your game up or get out.
Yeah.
I was that guy. I was the one on the bottom.
Wow.
I was the worst because I just didn't care. And it goes back to the fact that I did not have a compelling vision at all.
Wow.
It wasn't just, I want because everybody wants the Lambo and they want the girl and they want all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I didn't even I had no care because I had never been through any adversity.
Yeah.
And it was only until I went through adversity that I finally got a vision.
What was the adversity?
Dude, I had a massive business loss. It was huge. For the first time in my life, I really wanted something.
Yeah.
Like really, really bad. I finally got a vision. And it was for a tech company. This was probably 7 years ago or so. I tried to start this tech company and I put everything I had into it.
Yeah.
At the time, because I was the worst on the totem pole, I didn't have a lot of savings.
Yeah.
So I started grinding and I started hustling in order to get it. And I finally started making some checks and I was like, oh shit, I can actually do this. Like I'm
What were
good.
you selling? What were you?
Mortgages. I was selling refis.
Okay.
I was selling cash out and
Nobody's doing refis right now, I don't believe. Right?
I mean, people that need the money, because we're in the highest amount of debt that our country's ever seen.
Yeah.
So people do need the money, and they're refining out of 2-3% interest rates into the 7s and 8s in order to pay off some of this debt.
Wow.
Because, it's better than...
So essentially, like when someone takes out an equity loan right now, it's considered a refi.
No, because that's a second lien position. So, but a lot of people can't qualify for the home equity lines.
Yeah, because you need 680 or I think plus.
So a lot of people, they're doing cash out refis if they can, and the banks love it because they're getting them out of the 2s and putting them in 7s.
Wow.
So it's an interesting
I always interview
situation,
people and think I need a new job. I'm about to put someone in an 8%.
Yeah, man. Well, dude, the guys I was just sitting in this chair is putting people in 50%. That's crazy.
That's sick, dude. Yeah, dude. When I hear that, I'm like, that's 50, insane.
Dude.
Can you imagine needing the money that bad? But there are people out there, it's like...
They need it.
But also to have the confidence of I'm going to give you 50% back in 30 days.
You got to know you have a cash flow problem and that it's down the line.
Oh,
you have to know, like,
that would make me sick signing something saying,
I can't believe it.
I'm going to take 500 and I'm going to give you 750 next month.
Oh my God.
Yeah, right, bro.
You got to know you have an accounts payable. That's just in the,
God.
Yeah, man. So I was selling these things and I started getting some capital, but it still wasn't enough. So I started taking all this money out on debt.
Yeah.
Because the one thing, thank God, because I was a young kid, since I was a young kid, I always had great credit. Like I was always over 800 since I was 16 years old.
Yeah.
And so I had a great credit score. I was able to pull out a lot of debt, and I put like over 100,000 on debt. It was 162 grand is what it ended up being. The investor we had, my buddy and I, just completely backed out. And so he had put cash and I had put debt in, and now the company was dissolved. And I lost everything, man. Like overnight, practically, I went from living in the Icon in Brickell to literally homeless. I slept in my storage unit. I lost my car. I had to give my car back because I didn't want it repossessed, so I just gave it to the dealership. And they gave me some terrible like payout on it. It was awful. I was underwater on it, so they just snatched it up. I paid the difference. That was the rest of my money, and then I was homeless, straight up. And so I stayed on a friend's couch.
How old were you?
I think I was 23.
Wow.
I was 23.
Yeah.
And before this, like all I ever knew was partying. Like I was just a big partier, bro. I was wasting time talking to girls, screwing around.
Yeah.
And for the first time in my life, I'm like, holy shit, like this is real. And so I tried to keep like hustling and try to make things work for a couple of months until I couldn't anymore. And I was staying on a friend's couch at the time, and my parents called me and they're like, hey, like we've been praying for you and we want you to come home.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't want to go home. I don't want to go home. I'm not doing, like, I'm going to fight. I'm going to make this work. And then eventually I had to give up. I was like, fuck it. I can't do it. So I had to get my parents to lend me some money to get home. I went home. The first meeting I had was I met with a bankruptcy attorney, and I was like, hey, can I file bankruptcy on this 160,000+ in debt? And he was like, where do you live? And I'm like, dude, I've been like homeless for 3 months. I don't have an address. And then I was like, I don't have an address. And so he was like, well, you can't file bankruptcy here until you've lived in Virginia for 6 months.
Wow.
So you got to hold out for 6 months and then you can file bankruptcy. So I was like, bro, what the hell? So I reached out to the company that I had been working for here in Miami that I ran a call center for. And I was like, hey guys, like, what can you do? I know you're located in Maryland. Can you give me a second shot? Because I really fumbled the bag with this job down here when I left. They had a whole branch built around me. I was running a call center with 20+ guys.
So you lose everything, 23 years old. You start talking to the call center in regard to helping out with 162,000.
Yeah. No, I just asked them if I didn't want anybody to help pay me off. I just wanted to get out of the debt.
Okay.
Right. And I wanted to get back to Miami. I did not want to be home.
Yeah.
That was the one thing where I went home and nothing had changed.
Yeah.
It was the same as it was when I grew up there.
Everything's a bubble.
Nothing changed. Same bars were open, same people were there. Everything was the same. Yeah. And I hated it.
Yeah.
And so I call up the CEO and I'm like, hey dude, like this is what happened. I need a second chance. And he was like, get your ass to Maryland. Let's get it done. So I was like, this is incredible. He gave me an opportunity. And I'll never forget him. His name was Robert Cole. And he gave me an opportunity to get my shit together. I went on Craigslist. I found a room for rent in Baltimore in a fucking, like, it was actually in Glen Burnie, Maryland, outside of Baltimore. And I rented a room for $500 a month. And my parents gave me the first month. It was $500. They hooked me up. It was in like literally a basement that had no Wi-Fi, nothing. It was just a little concrete box. I had a mat that I put on the floor and I slept on the floor. And I went to work every morning. Well, I went to the gym first. I went to the gym. I went to work. I grinded all day. I went home, sat in my place with no Wi-Fi, and I would listen to sermons. I would listen to Mike Todd. I would listen to Stephen Furtick. I would listen to all these guys. Actually, the sermon that really helped me during this period was called Crazy Faith. It was a collection that was made by Mike Todd.
Yeah.
And I was so inspired by it. I'll tell you what happened in the brief summary. I paid off, long story short, I grinded my ass off for almost 8 months. I didn't hang out with people. I made 2 friends while I was there. I didn't want to make friends because I didn't want any reason to stay.
Yeah.
I knew I was coming back to Miami. I knew I was going to get out of debt. Within 8 months, I had paid off all the debt and I saved enough to move back. I was so inspired because throughout this journey, I had been following a collection by Mike Todd called Crazy Faith. And I was so inspired by it that when I made the last payment and paid everybody off, including my parents, I ended up flying to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I heard the finale to that sermon on Crazy Faith.
Wow.
And it was so inspiring for me because I felt like he was there with me through the journey.
Yeah.
And it was all about like casting that vision and having faith that you could see it through and that you didn't need anybody else's help but God's.
Wow.
Right. And yourself in order to make it happen.
Amen.
And so that was huge for me. I got through it. I come back to Miami and like a couple weeks after I get here, COVID hits. And I'm like, bro, what is going on?
Yeah.
And thank God somehow, dude, I got connected with this, with my buddy, and I just started slinging loans, bro. Like I had built up so much work ethic over that 8-month period of paying off that debt, working 20 hours a day, barely sleeping, that I had so much work ethic. I freaking crushed it when I got back.
Yeah.
And for a year, I mean, from then until about a year, no, not even 8 months ago, I was making over $500,000 a year just off of selling mortgages, closing loans. And I became one of the top mortgage brokers here in Miami.
In a difficult time too.
Very difficult time.
So it's like, because people are like, you know, I don't have a significant amount of like mortgage intelligence, but like you study the Fed rate and you look at different rates and how that affects, you know, markets. And it, you know, I'll go to some of these conferences and like PPD, you know, there was one conference he did, it was a sales leadership summit, and it's like 200 guys. The entry level is $5,000. So you got wealthier individuals there. He tells people, stand up if you're insurance. Good percentage of us stand up. Stand up if you're, you know, in tech. Good percentage of people stand up. Stand up if you're in mortgage. One guy stands up. And I'm like, oh, that's a dog. You know what I mean? Others are like, man, that's, you know, that's scary or he's dumb. I was like, no, that's a dog. You know, to be resilient, persevere, and find a way, not only to find a way to get the job done, but find a way to excel when markets are experiencing constraints, but there's always, like you said, there's always an upside. And what I always hear is people with money are going to find a way to spend money. So like if you're doing mortgages with super wealthy individuals or you're doing business with super wealthy individuals, they don't care about 8%.
No, they don't.
8%, 2%, 18%. They got bread and they want a deal, then they want a deal. You know what I mean?
It's true.
So that's really sweet, dude. So were you with the same mortgage company because it sounds like you did mortgages straight out of high school.
Out of college. Yeah, so when I got out of college, I went and got my Series 7 and my 66. I became a financial advisor.
Okay.
I worked for Edward Jones Investments. I got picked up by Merrill Lynch. I was at Merrill, and then my buddy was down here killing it in mortgages, and that's how I got in the game.
So were you associated with a mortgage company, or were you like brokering, like insurance?
No, we were a broker. We were a broker.
So you can just select your own carriers?
Yeah, I mean, we still were under a certain umbrella. So when I first...
Are you still with that umbrella?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, so... Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think the mortgage company really suffered when I opened the studio, dude.
Yeah.
Because I was pumping volume for these guys.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
Yeah.
And when I opened up the studio, I became so obsessed with this that I started just sending my deals off to the team.
How long did it take for this to take off?
This took off like a month after I built it.
It's insane.
I promise you. It was almost immediate.
You don't have to promise. I saw.
It was almost immediate.
How long has this been here?
10 months now.
It's insane, dude, how fast. Because like, then I had to be...
You were probably one of my first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
That's like, because when I walked in, I was like, oh, this is better than my studio. And I was like, it's probably been around for a little bit. And it's like, oh, no, I've been here a month or two. And I was like, oh, shit, dude. You literally put all of your money into this. You know what I mean? Because I thought I put a lot of money into mine. And I was like, how much you put in this? 6 figures plus. I'm like, oh, shit. Like, you're doing this. You know what I mean?
Dude, I went all in.
That's the only way to do it.
Yeah, I really did.
Dude, when you bring supreme quality and you create an experience where it's luxurious and it's like, it's extreme customer service, and you can make individuals have this feeling of like they're having a luxurious, you know, life moment. It pays for itself, dude. It's invaluable. You honestly should charge more. I got people that'll pay me $250 for my studio.
Wow.
You know what I mean? For an hour, and it's a fraction of this, dude. You know what I mean? So it's like you should start charging people $2,500 an hour.
Well, we got some things in the works that are going to be $1,000 an hour.
1,000%, dude.
And it's going to be on yachts, and it's going to
1,000%,
be
dude.
incredible. We're going to do some really cool mobile stuff.
Because people like they don't realize like what you've built is you build a podcast studio, but you build a community as well.
Yeah, the community is everything.
The community is invaluable. So you've got a community, like you should honestly pay someone, and you don't have to pay anybody. You're a genius with math. You should do an estimate of like value of the community that you've built and just look at the people that are like consistently utilizing it, look at all their net worths, and then you just add it up and be like, this is $1 billion community that you're not getting a part of. I bet at bare minimum is $1 billion between all the individuals you've had that'll consistently use this and hit you up and contacts you've acquired. It's like,
I think it's $1 billion just in NDAs that we've signed of people that are here that we can't even post.
$1 billion, like that, and the odds of someone walking in while walking out, like I've met cool people, brought cool people, and it's like, dude, that's invaluable.
Yeah.
So it's like, dude, that's a steal. Some of these guys, it's $50,000 just to go to their masterminds. It's $250 to come here for an hour, bro.
And you're gonna run into them.
You're gonna run into them.
You're gonna run into
them.
them.
Off.
I had a lady. It was so funny. This was last month. She paid me to just sit in the studio all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to work.
It was like a Tuesday randomly, and she was like, "Hey, I just want to come sit there and hang out." It was because she wanted to meet everybody coming in and out, and she met like 6 people, and one of them they're doing business with now.
Wow.
So she was like, I'll pay you your hourly rate. Yeah. And I was like, no, but we're booked that day. And she's like, no, I don't want to record. I just want to hang out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not going to charge you to hang out. Like what? And then she was like, no, I'll pay you. And I was like, all right, whatever, cool. Sweet, so she just sat here. She sat at that table.
Yeah.
She was like, oh, hey, no, I'm just here for the day, blah, blah, blah. And she was exchanging hands and numbers.
Those are the best deals.
Bro, she loved it. She met some incredible people. And that's the value of the community. I think the relationships are everything here. But really the story,
dude, it's incredible. Seriously, what you built here. So, dude, and now, you know what I mean? You've been able to allocate all of your time, money, and energy really fully into this and really expand a vision and create something where it's like, there's no way in hell you shouldn't go on a 10-year run of building this.
Yeah.
And even then, I don't even think here's my thoughts on building something like this, because this is a marketing machine. You don't even exit from something like this. You know what I mean? You create other products, companies, and services. You push it through this. Yeah. You have your guests market it. You know what I mean? We push it on our podcast. And then you exit from things like that. Like Sales Hub, I'll exit from that. You know what I mean? But AK Media, I'm not exiting from my marketing machine. You know what I mean? Like huge. That's the newspaper. You see these billionaires, and they'll get sports teams, and they'll get newspapers. They'll literally buy like news channels and newspapers. It's like they're just acquiring more marketing. Yeah. You buy a sports team not because you want to win a Super Bowl. You buy a sports team, 1, because you're stupid rich, but 2, because the marketing, you literally have 100,000 people physically attending, millions of people that are diehard loyal fans, and you start marketing new products and companies. That's why there's so many different insurance companies that get associated. Like our insurance company is associated with a baseball team, a football team as well. It's actually cool. This is why I love making content. And I don't know if I did it here, but I had a piece of content go viral, and then I woke up and Dak Prescott shared it and was following me. Wow. And I was like, dude, I grew up. I'm not like a fanboy or anything like that crazy, but it was cool. It was like, dude, it's so cool to see how far that we've come. And I can see the same thing that you're building here in a matter of 10 months, the connections, the people sharing, the people engaging and interacting. This is in 10 months, bro. 10 years. This is the studio. I can't think of any other studios in the US that compare with this. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like you've built something.
And I've heard the same thing from actual celebrities that travel around that are interviewed by ESPN and SportsCenter and all these different things, and they're telling me that.
Yeah, this is
and it's crazy. It's like really what this goes back to, honestly, is just the power of a vision. Yeah, literally. I mean, this is how you started it, and that will remain true because it's one of the testaments of my life. Yeah. So thus far has been, I went through a season, and a long season at that, of my life where I had no vision. I had no compelling vision, and I had no definiteness of purpose or desire. Yeah. And because of that, I drifted through life aimlessly. I was hooking up with random chicks. I was doing things that were incongruent with my purpose and my destiny. Yeah. And as a result of that, dude, I fell time and time again. I fell for the drugs. I fell for the alcohol. I fell for the girls. I fell for the temptations. I fell for everything. Yeah. Because I didn't have that vision. And the moment that I got a vision, I became so obsessed with it that I cut so many people out of my life. And it was so easy for me to say no to things. It was so easy for me to say, no, I can't go out tonight. I can't do this. I can't do that. And it's not even that I couldn't. I didn't even want to because I knew that that wasn't going to be in alignment with what was to come.
Yeah.
Right. And it's so much easier when you do have that vision and it's compelling. It's a driving force in your life. And you'll find other people will come along for the ride because you're so sold on it.
Yeah. You know, on the surface, obviously, we have our visions in regard to what's driving us monetarily and our babies and different things like that. But like, what's the deep why in your soul that like kept you going, keeps you going, and will keep you going until from the look in your eyes, I feel like you're going to go till death. You remind me of me. I look in your eyes, I'm like, you'll go till death probably. What is it, dude? Is it, for me, it's like legacy. It's the women in my life.
Yeah. You know, that's interesting. I've actually thought about it recently because I hear people say, oh, it's my mom, it's my kid, it's my whoever. And for me, it's truly this feeling that I have that like God put something on my heart and I have to.
Yeah.
It's not even that I want to.
Yeah.
There's other visions that God's put on my heart that I'm like, I know that that's going to come when I'm like 60.
Yeah.
So I'm not really thinking about it right now because I know that everything that's happening now is preparing me for that. So I'm just going to leave that one alone because I'm patient. And I know that the seed has to come because if I get focused on that, I'll get so focused on other things, I'll get distracted. So I know that that one's to come. So the one for right now is I've got this vision of this $10 million facility.
Yeah.
And so I've got to focus on that right now. And then I've got to go speak and I've got to do these, you know. So for me, it's like I really got to stay truly focused on the task at hand because God's telling me that I have to do it.
Should people that are lacking vision right now, what would you tell them? You know what I mean? If they feel down, bad, out, like they're finished, like they can't go anymore, they can't get back up. From someone that's experienced the depths of life that you've experienced and now reaching new heights, what would you say to that young man, that old man, that young woman, that old woman watching this right now thinking, dude, I'm out, I'm done. I have no vision.
Yeah. Get alone. You have to get alone, isolated and uncomfortable. That means shutting everything off. That means if you got to go ghost and disappear, you have to.
Yeah.
Because you're only going to get in tune with yourself and find that vision when you are undistracted and you don't have other people in your ear telling you their vision. Because when you don't have a vision, you will fall for everybody else's vision.
Literally.
And the problem with that is it could be a girl.
Yep.
It could be your parents. It could be a coworker. It could be your boss. But it will be someone else's vision that may not be in alignment with your spirit. And you'll know that and you'll feel even worse.
Yes.
Because another year will go by.
Yes.
Another 2 years will go by. A decade will go by. And you're still in the same position when you could have handled it if you had been uncomfortable enough to sit alone with yourself. And if you sit alone with yourself and you shut off Instagram and you turn off the noise, you will find it.
Yeah.
Eventually you'll be like, man, what was that I was really good at when I was a kid?
Yes.
Oh, I was creative. I was good with music. Let me pick up the drumsticks. Let me go fuck around on a set.
Yeah.
Let me learn how to sing. Let me do something that you did really well naturally when you were a kid.
Yeah.
May have something to do with your purpose. I was always creative. I was a musician and an artist when I was a kid.
Yeah.
It's no coincidence and now I'm doing creative shit.
I was always annoying.
Right? I was annoying too. I was super annoying.
Communicator. That's what it's like. I'm a salesman. I've always been persuasive communicator, Dr. Yapper.
Yeah. And now you have an opportunity to speak and you have an opportunity to persuade and you're doing all the things that you were naturally gifted at.
Yes.
But we get so disaligned with that.
Yeah.
Because of our upbringing or our surroundings. And if you can stay alone long enough, you know, the reason I got really in tune with my vision was because I spent enough time alone when I was in that basement of adversity, when I had no Wi-Fi and I couldn't even go on, and I couldn't even use my phone when I was in that basement, sleeping there for 10 months, paying off all this debt.
Love that.
So I had to be alone.
Yeah.
And it gave me the opportunity to be like, man, I really want to do something else. I don't want to be in this position. You have to get so fucking sick of your situation that you finally are ready to change.
Yes. I spent a lot of time studying John Maxwell, and he says there's 2 or 3 reasons why somebody changes. 1, you learn enough that you're inspired to change. 2, there's an enlightening experience in your life, which also leads to an inspiration to change. And 3, you hurt so bad.
Yeah.
You hurt so bad. You hate seeing what you see in the mirror. You hate the way that your mind thinks and operates, your lack of intelligence. You hate your soul, your instability, your weakness, your emotional fragileness, your financial brokenness. And you say, I'm tired of this. I'm going to change. And you change. Yeah. Most people think 1 and 2 is what's going to happen, it's usually 3, like 98%. And what's unfortunate is the people that will look in the mirror and you rewire and program your mind with your toleration. You know what I mean? So when you're looking in the mirror and you're just telling yourself, it's okay. It's and you just start rewiring and reprogramming and you lower and lessen your standards. And then you start to look at your life. Why is my life so horrible? Well, you broke your spirit. You broke your conscience. Your conscience will always tell you what's right and what's wrong. You know what I mean? Like you'll hear like the conscious congruency, like it's right. You know what I mean? Your spiritual alignment. It's like when you break those standards down, instead of building those standards up, you break your future down. Yeah. Instead of building your future up. And I love what you say with the vision, because everybody and their mother gets on social media and tells everybody about the social media comparison and how it's the thief of joy. It's absolutely the thief of joy. You know what I mean? But like, dude, like I think the simplest form is understanding that where is it really rooted in? It's this society of insecurity and this weakness of you don't want to sit in the dark and accept the weakness that you've built, right? You got to break that shit down and look in the mirror and say, this is it. I'm in the dark. You were talking about your story and I'm thinking about Bane, you know what I mean? From Batman, where it's like, you know, like you just visited the darkness. I was born in it, raised in it, molded by it. And that's your story. Yeah. That's why you have this, dude. Like everybody sees the lights, camera. They don't see all this shit behind the scenes. They see how beautiful this is, how beautiful we are. But dude, I'm looking at all this lights, camera, and everything like that, all this beautiful, glorious like setup. They don't see all the tears, pain, early mornings, late nights, 162,000 homeless, this, that, the third, all the demons fighting and going to war that you had to pick up that shield and say, I'm going to go to war back. Yeah. Your only other option, I tell people, is like, you got 2 options in life. You're going to figure this shit out, or you're going to work for the guy that does. Yeah, absolutely. That's failure. You work for the guy that does. That's failure. People are like, oh, I failed. No, you gave up, dog. And now you work for the guy that didn't give up. That's how life works. Yeah. Dude, this is incredible. So what's the next move? I hate to label things with years because I don't even believe in time. I just believe in reps. I believe in reps. You know what I mean? You're going to get reps, and the more reps you get, the faster things are going to happen. So look how fast you've moved in 10 months. Crazy. They tell some people, it's like, it's going to take you 10 years. I'm impressed with what I've been, like the guests I've been able to connect with in 3 years, going from nobody to where I'm at now with getting AB in here the other night. And it's crazy. You know what I mean? Spofford and all these different guys. It's incredible. 10 months. You've been able to incredible journey. What's the next moves? We got the $10 million facility we're working on. Yeah, that's the next play, man. We've got 2 more studios now in the building. Yeah. So we've got 3 total. And people always ask me, why did you do it here? Why didn't you do it in Fort Lauderdale or wherever? And those are to come. So I'm patient, but right now we have an opportunity that presented itself. I jumped on it. This facility is rented 12, 14 hours a day. We need an overflow space. Yeah. Everyone loves this location. Loves it, dude. We've got multiple competitors and copycats that have even come into our location to try to replicate what we're doing. Wow. So I already know that this is a great location. I already know that this is a great venture. So we're just looking to expand it and stay focused on the long-term prize. But when you say, like, what's the next move? It's funny because, obviously the studio is called The Move. Yeah. It came from an Instagram handle that was given to me when I was a kid called Drew's The Move when I first started my Instagram. Wow. And so that's kind of where it came from. And I've always been about making moves, doing things. The reason I got that name is because I used to be the life of the party in DC. And everybody was like, yo, what's the move tonight? And they were like, yo, hit up Drew. Drew's The Move. Drew's The Move. That's how that happened. That's hardcore, right? Bro. And so some people This needs clipped and shared with the world. Yeah. Drew's The Move. This is the point of this is what stories sell. Yeah, bro. Facts tell, stories sell. Dude, so it happened that way. People gave me that name because I was always out. And now it's shifted from partying and drinking and going to the club to making moves in business. Yeah. But my show is called Planted Moves because I no longer just want to be making moves for making moves. Like my moves are planted in purpose. They're planted in vision. Yeah. And they're planted in whatever God's put on my heart. Amen. And if they're not incongruent with that, I'm not making the move. Yeah, amen. Right? Yeah. And so that's really where it came from. And so every move that we're to make moving forward has to originate. Come on. From that space of being planted. Come on. That's great, dude. That's great. I think I always ask everybody this. What's the favorite movie? What's your favorite place to eat? Favorite place? Man, place to eat. It's a hard tie between Ceviche in Wynwood and Manta. I'm going to write these down. I love Peruvian food. Always going this isn't places. Like Poppy Steak. You're not going to go spend a bag. You're going to spend like $30 to $100 at best. Yes. And it's going to be the best food you've had. I'm going to actually just text you to text. I think he's, good. I told him to come in. So I'm going to text you to tell me these. Yeah, I got you. So those are my favorite. Text me your favorite restaurants. What about your favorite movie?
Man, bro, it's crazy. I don't really watch movies.
Okay. Some people don't. I think half my guests don't, half my guests do.
Yeah, I don't watch anything.
You've never watched anything.
I mean, I used to watch a lot of.
Yeah.
I would say
You shouldn't have time too. Like
Dude,
I don't
to
have.
be honest,
me and my girl will fall asleep to something, but it'll take us like a year to finish one movie. You know what I mean? Like throw it on. You know what I mean?
I mean, I like
asleep.
anything like action related, something that gets me going.
Yeah,
Like I'm an
a war
adrenaline
movie.
junkie. So
Yes.
war, racing.
Yeah, bro. You ever
Anything
jumped
like-
out of a plane?
I haven't.
I jumped out of one.
Yeah?
So stupid. Like I love adrenaline, but that was too much.
Was it?
That was a little much.
Dang.
You know what I mean? Because like there's a dude strapped to my back, and I was just pissed. I was like, I don't want to die with some dude strapped to my back. You know what I mean? That's soft. So it's like if I'm gonna die, it'll be by myself. But yeah, no, that was crazy. I used to be crazy. I won't even go over all the adrenaline. Is there anything else you wanted to hit on? I feel like we sped through.
We did, but it was great, man.
But it was good.
I think we
This
hit
was a good one.
all the topics, man. Yeah, I would say just, whoever your listeners are, I know you're the adversity king.
Yeah.
Right. And man, adversity is a blessing, bro.
It's such a blessing.
It's such a blessing.
It's such a blessing.
When you're going through it, it sucks.
Yeah.
And everybody hates adversity. But
Yeah.
I've learned to appreciate it on a different level.
It's happening for you.
It's happening for
God
you. And if
created
you
an
can,
opportunity for you to grow, and He couldn't create that for you through cupcake land.
Yeah.
You got to go through the desert, dog.
Yeah.
You got to go through the Red Sea, dog. You know what I mean? You got to go fight the Goliath. You know what I mean? That's the only. You want to become David? You want to become King David? Yeah. Go fight Goliath, bro. That's a giant, not a midget. A giant. Yeah.
And think about every move he made was planted in faith.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
He had the confidence to go after it and to go against the opinion of others.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, then you'll be king.
1000%, bro. So where can people find you? They want to work with you. They want to network with you.
Yeah, for sure. So if you're looking to rent this beautiful studio, you can check out on Instagram, themove.miami or www.themovemiami.com. You can follow me personally on Instagram at Drew's The Move. And that's it, man.
Let's go. We got another episode coming up, but this was Adversity Kings. This is Andrew Loranger, or if you want to practice your French, go ahead with his last name, Loranger. So, yeah, guys, just tune into Adversity Kings. We're killing it. Tune in to Drew's The Move, Andrew. They are killing it. I'm moving down here just to use this podcast studio.
Let's go, baby.
I'm going to be in this studio 98% of the time, so let's go. Peace out, guys.